Well, good evening and welcome to EBN Prime Edition. Tonight, the last day of August, the year 2023. Indeed, a lot has been happening across the country today with especially the government's commitment in fighting corruption after highlighting the corruption scandal that goes on at Nyayo House. Well, we shall be taking a look on that and many more, but remember to get in touch with us through our socials at EBN TV and at Sammy Adika on Twitter. Well, starting us off, the Director of Public Prosecutions nominee Renson Mulele has complained that the prosecution's office is not properly funded. Appearing before the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee agency, for vetting on Thursday, Mulele said the administration agency cannot currently meet its communications operations as it lacks effective equipment, and urged the committee to push for adequate funding towards the office of the DPP. Well, we shall be taking a look on that later on, but now moving forward on matters corruption scandal facing former agriculture CS. The prosecution in the Kimwarer and Aror Dam worth 68 billion Kenya shillings corruption case involving former finance CS Henry Rotich has declined to investigate former agriculture CS Peter Munya on matters on the specific issue after presenting himself to court following his arrest warrant on the 29th of August this year for failing to appear, or rather to appear to court to testify in the multi-billion scandal. Let's take a look.
This witness we had indicated is a lady from the Office of the Auditor General. I am informed by my IO that she is in Kajiado currently. She is not available.
Okay, so let the record show that the witness was present in court today and by your distance. Thank you. Yes.
Your Honor, being that we have expended the witnesses for the day, I humbly again make a request for an adjournment.
We have not expended the witnesses for the day. Yesterday and Monday, you had indicated you were going to call the AG. You were going.
And still on matters corruption, Immigration Principal Secretary Ambassador Julius Bitok has stated that the government has narrowed down to 4 suspects aiding corruption in the Immigration Department. PS Bitok has stressed that the government will extend the crackdown to all immigration officers in the country, and as at now, the backlog of passports has reduced significantly from around 100,000 to 45,000. Bitok has also assured Kenyans that all corrupt officials at Nyayo House will be dealt with, and those seeking passports will have a smooth experience.
Imeamua kupiga darubini sana maneno ya mabroka ambayo wanajaribu kusumbua Kenya wasipate passport kwa muda mfupi. Na ninasema kwamba DCI amepewa instructions na serikali kuhakikisha kwamba wamekamata mtu yeyote ambayo anajaribu kuchukua pesa ama kuchukua hongo kwa Wakenya ili wapate mambo ya passport. Na nataka kusema kwamba hivi majuzi serikali iliweza kushika watu 4 wakapelekwa huko Central Police Station na baadaye wakapelekwa kotini kuhakikisha kwamba tumemaliza hii shida ya watu ambao wanasumbuliwa wakitafuta passport. Nataka kuambia Wakenya sasa Nyayo ziko clean, hakuna maneno ya kutumia broker. Kuja hapo within a very short time utapata passport yako bila kusumbuliwa. Most recently we were able to arrest some of the people who are actually frustrating Kenyans who are trying to get passports in Nyayo House. So I want to assure the country that services in Nyayo House are going on well. Right now we are producing about 3,600 passports per day, and I want to say the backlog which we had, which was about 100,000, has now been reduced to about 45,000. And in the next 2 weeks, there will be no backlog of passports in our house. So I want to say there's a lot of work going on with all arms of government, with the legislature, with the executive, to ensure that there's a proper cleanup of Nyayo House. So I want to say that We have ordered for new printers. We have also ordered for enough booklets for Kenyans, and that going forward, applying for a passport will take you a maximum of 7 days to get. And we are saying, even going forward, we believe that it is even possible to get a passport within 3 days. We are going to introduce services like express services to ensure that Kenyans are able to get passports on time, and that it is possible with the current arrangements which you have put in place, with the PPP arrangements which you have put in place. I want to assure the country that in the next few months, you will no longer have to wait for your passport for a long time to get it. You will get it in record time, either 3 days or maximum within 7 days.
Well, as Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition and the Kenya Kwanza government finally appended their signatures on the agenda for the National Dialogue Committee, one of the key issues was on electoral justice and related matters. Well, this includes the reconstitution of IEBC and the delimitation of boundaries. In less than 8 months, the law requires boundary review to be done, as the deadline is March 2024. And as Victor Enzobeli reports, the country stares at a constitutional crisis as the electoral agency remains dysfunctional.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission currently has no commissioner and is run by Secretariat led by the CEO, Marjan Hussein Marjan, as former chair Wafula Chebukati, and Commissioners Abdi Guliye and Boya Mulu's term came to an end early January. On the other hand, the Cherera Four, led by Juliana Cherera, Francis Wanderi, Irene Masit, and Justice Nyang'aya, were ejected from office on grounds of election and constitution fraud. The Constitution, under Chapter 7, Article 2, provides for periodic review of the names and boundaries of constituencies at intervals of not less than 8 years and not more than 12 years. Furthermore, Article 3 states that the Commission shall review the numbers, names, and boundaries of wards periodically. However, the country now stares at a constitutional crisis as the deadline for a demarcation of electoral boundaries nears, while the electoral agency remains debilitated. With barely 7 months to the end of the set deadline, little or no preparations are underway by the IEBC to perform this constitutional duty. The IEBC CEO Marjan Hussein Marjan has warned of a looming crisis to meet the constitutional deadline as the Commission remains crippled. The CEO admits that public participation for the review needs to be spearheaded by the Commission and not the Secretariat. The delimitation of boundaries is a complex exercise and requires the Commission to move across the country for public views and other experts to inform the review. Under Article 5, Chapter 7 of the Constitution, it states that the boundaries review shall be such that the inhabitants in the constituency is nearly as possible equal to the population quota, but the number of inhabitants of a constituency may be greater or lesser than the population quota. Given the surge from the last census, the population quota increased to 165,015, up from 133,000 that informed the 290 constituencies in 2010. This is arrived at by dividing the country's population of 47,564,296 by 290 constituencies. The catch here is that the Constitution caps the number of constituencies at 290 as stated in Article 1, Chapter 7 of the Constitution. This means that any additional constituencies must be subjected to a constitutional amendment, but does not require a referendum. The Constitution requires the commissioners led by the chairman to spearhead the boundary delimitation, but with their absence, concern is growing amongst stakeholders. A political standoff between President William Ruto and Raila Odinga has stalled the recruitment of new commissioners. Already boundary tussles have been witnessed across some counties. In Migori, for instance, the Kajulu subclan of Kanyamkago clan of Uriri subcounty and the Kanyoro subclan of the larger Kadem clan of Nyatike subcounty have had boundary disputes. Residents of Meru Isiolo boundary have also decried boundary conflicts in the area. The commissioners are supposed to approve the budget, plan of action and supervise the entire delimitation exercise. However, that remains to be seen as the electoral agency remains dysfunctional. Victor Enzobeli for EBN TV.
Well, now taking a look on our previous story right there, the Director of Public Prosecutions nominee Renson Mulele has complained that the prosecutor's office is not properly funded. Appearing before the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee for vetting on Thursday, Mulele said the administration agency cannot currently meet its communications operations as it lacks effective equipment, and urged the committee to push for adequate funding towards the office of the DPP.
Appearing for vetting before the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, Director of Public Prosecutions nominee Renson Mulele Ingonga said he has an estimated net worth of 300 million Kenyan shillings, which is comprised of the house where he lives and land property. Mr. Ingonga complained of underfunding of the prosecutor's office as he illustrated his ability to work in the office of the DPP.
In the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, its funds. We are not able to meet our needs because of funding. We are not able to employ staff. We are not able to do the other corporate services. We cannot. We can't even buy a camera for the communication department just because of funding. That's why I beseech that I'll be coming back to this committee so that the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions is well funded and achieve its mandate.
Case management system, it is currently only in the headquarters and the 8 regional offices. We have not been able to go to counties and some countries because of lack of funds. Luckily for judiciary, they have all the funds. They are able to roll out, come after us, but they want to be ahead of us because of funds, nothing else. That's why it does not matter whether it's a politician, it's a normal mwananchi. We just guided by the law. So the issue of interference, I don't believe it will come in. It will not. As a public servant, we are guided by Article 232 of the Constitution about values and integrity and all that goes with Chapter 6 as public servants. That will be my guiding principle, if confirmed by this committee, to be the next.
The former Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions was picked by President William Ruto on August 17 from a list of 15 candidates shortlisted by the Public Service Commission. If approved by the National Assembly, Ingonga will replace Norin Haji, who left the office following his appointment as Director General of the National Intelligence Service, and he will serve for a term of 8 years according to Article 157 of the Constitution, which states that the DPP shall be nominated and, with the approval of the National Assembly, appointed by the President, and shall hold office for a term of 8 years and shall not be eligible for reappointment.
Well, many thanks for the report right there, Kuku. The national government has been urged to consider increasing the amount of money allocated to county governments and enable the devolved units complete stalled projects. Speaking in Chemise, Nandi County Finance CEC, Hilary Serem has lauded the County Assembly for passing this year's budget. And the County Assembly recently passed the Equitable Development Act 2023 in a bid to curb cases of corruption in the county and ensure proper utilization of the funds.
That an act has been passed by the County Assembly of Nandi. This is the Nandi County Equitable Development Act 2023, which was passed and accepted by the governor recently. We have moved forward to implement, and this is the process of implementing it. The act identifies the ward as the very basic unit in development and creates a ward committee which will be in charge of identifying, prioritizing the projects, monitoring the same, and looking into it that which is intended is done.
Well, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, has started investigating 21 governors on claims of stealing public funds. EACC is after both former and current governors, with the commission started a fight against corruption, with most devolved units affected as the leaders are said to have privatized public properties.
EACC is firmly focused on a high level of corruption. We are looking into cases involving high-profile personalities guided by public interest, amount of money involved, and I can confirm that as we speak, the Commission is investigating 21 governors, that is both the former and the sitting governors, of theft of public funds running into hundreds of billions. That is cutting across various counties in the Republic. And the matters under probe include embezzlement of public funds, payments from public coffers for works not undertaken, for no goods supplied, conflict of interest. We have issues of procurement fraud, and also cases of unexplained wealth, where individuals are not able to account, or individuals possess wealth that is not commensurate with their legitimate sources of income. Remember, every time an employee is getting their salary, that money is released to the counties in gross. That means it includes the net salary, the monies that are payable to institutions such as KRA, that is pay as you earn. We have monies payable to NHIF and institutions that manage pension. So what is happening is that many county governments, indeed almost all of them, almost all county governments have challenges relating to non-remittance of statutory deductions. So that when this money is released to the counties, many of them would proceed and make a payment of the net, but fail to submit.
Well, seems the government is seriously, or rather serious, on matters fight against corruption. Nancy Kigunzo, famously known as Mathe Wangara, has been denied bail in a case involving trafficking of narcotics worth 13.4 million Kenya shillings. Kigunzo appeared before Magistrate Njeri Thuku at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport Law Courts on Thursday morning. In her ruling, Magistrate Thuku said granting her bail was not in the interest of justice. On the other hand, her co-accused Teresa Wanjiru was granted 50,000 cash bail on condition that she leaves behind contacts of 2 people. Now, on matters agriculture, the government is set to announce new maize prices as Agriculture CS Mythical Linturi urged farmers to exercise patience in selling their produce. Speaking in Trans Nzoia County, Linturi has noted that the government is set to buy 1 million bags of maize from farmers for the National Reserve.
Announcing to be able to fix a price, and of course, even government will buy 1 million, just as the president has sent 1 million bags of maize for a national strategic reserve. And once I'm finalized consultations with Treasury and other stakeholders, probably next week, we will be able to announce how much we will be buying a bag of maize.
Research field day ili tukutane na mahitaji ya wakulima, kwa sababu we go to the field and assess the needs of farmers and interpret through the certified sheet that we have.
Tuendelee na mantra ya cabinet secretary wetu na mantra ya president wetu kusema kwamba tunamaliza aibu ya njaa Kenya. Hiyo ndio tunafaa tushikilie.
Kupitia ofisi ya county commissioner, mpatie wale wenye wamepatia hiyo jukumu wakati mwepesi ili waweze kufanya hiyo kazi.
And I think farmers should also appreciate that the government has really put a lot of effort in trying to subsidize their cost of production, and for that matter, that subsidized cost must mean something.
And still on matters agriculture, leaders in Embu County have started an initiative to support coffee farmers in the county to reduce on the cost of farming by ensuring they access subsidized fertilizers. Embu County Governor Cecily Mbarire has urged leaders in the coffee subsector to put in place necessary measures which will secure the subsector. Manyata Sub-County Member of Parliament Gitonga Mukunji has called on Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi to move with speed and ensure coffee farmers benefit as promised by the government.
Ile fertilizer imeletwa na President William Ruto ama ambaye inaanza kukuja, sisi county government ndio tutafanya last mile delivery. Tutaleta karibu na wakulima na tunaanza na cooperative societies, tutaleta kahawa yote hapo, na kesho tutakuwa na mkutano wa viongozi wa cooperative ndio tusikizane vile fertilizer itapatianwa. This past week kulikuwa na attempted robbery ya kahawa kule Ena. Kwa hivyo one of the things tunaangalia kwa hii pesa tumeweza kupatia factories ama cooperatives leo ni vile watahakikisha kwamba kwa kila factory tuko na CCTV system na alarm system ndio tuhakikishe kwamba tumeweza protect kahawa yetu.
Mimi kama kiongozi wa Manyata constituency ambapo ukulima mwingi inafanyika, I'm part and parcel ya kuhakikisha wakulima wamepata fertilizer na wamepata zile vitu wanafaa kupata. Kulima wanaumia sana wakiambiwa waendee fertilizer yao mahali mbali, na ni vizuri sasa we step in kama viongozi tuwasaidie kupata fertilizer ndio waweze kulima bila stress. Na mkulima ambaye anakulimia kahawa, majani na vitu zingine, kazi yake si kuendea fertilizer mbali, ni uletee karibu naye alime, akupee chakula na akupee pesa.
Na hii ni mazao ambayo nafuu sana kwa mkulima na anaweza akaongeza pesa mfukoni kwake. Fertilizer yetu kwa kitu kimoja ni kwamba haiongezi ile chumvi ama acidity kwa mchanga. In fact inatoa hiyo acidity kwa mchanga kwa sababu iko na pH ile ya juu.
And crossing over to Laikipia County, it is a relief to Laikipia County residents after the county government commissioned 4 borehole drilling machines to end water shortage that has been a problem for months now. The county government intends to drill more than 300 boreholes in schools, hospitals and police stations in the county in a bid to end water wrangles witnessed between the county residents. And Laikipia County Water CEC Lea Njeri has noted that the machines will help reduce the cost of drilling boreholes and ensure the county residents get access to clean water.
We came from a difficult situation where we had to track water to about 70 schools, dispensaries and also TVET and even some police posts we had to track water. And that is very expensive and it's completely unsustainable. And so with this equipment that have been brought to us now, that we, through of course His Excellency that we have procured, we are very excited that we'll be able to provide water, particularly to the rural areas of Laikipia.
The women have to ride on a bicycle to go for 10-20 kilometers to get water. And not only clean, it's not clean drinking water. It is water from the dam where this woman early in the morning and in the evening they must go and compete with donkeys. We'll take water first.
And the Busia County residents have lauded the government's proposal to pay village elders, noting that it will empower and encourage the elders. Well, the residents say the government need to ensure the village elders work under good terms and conditions. Well, the government insisted on the need to reimburse the villagers, or the village elders rather, and ensure they are effective.
Sisi madigurus pia tuna familia. Kama mimi nina familia, watoto wanasoma. Ukirudi mtu umeangalia ng'ombe ya mtu imekula mahindi, hakuna kitu umepewa. Kuja mtoto anataka kalamu, unaambia I'm from volunteering. You volunteer, watoto wanabaki nyuma. Ndio unaona mafamilia wengi ya madigurus, wengi wamekufa bila msaada. Watoto hawajaenda shule. Akitumikia tu serikali bila mapato nyumbani.
Nashukuru sana serikali kusikia kilio cha Maligurus na kuweka ka budget kiasi ya kusupport Maligurus. Chenye ninaomba wasianze kusema ati Liguru akuwe na certificate sijui ya diploma, au wenye wako tu sahi. Hao wenye wako sahi tu ndio waandikwe tu hivyo vile wameongozanga tu hivyo. Hakuna cha kuanza ati degree. Si ndio? And then uniforms, because lazima tuone tofauti ya Liguru na ule mwenye ameiba ng'ombe anakimbia.
Lakini kwa vile wamekubali leo, tumesikia kupitia kwa mama, nyinyi wazee naye mkuje kwa vikundi ili mjue kazi ya mama, kwa sababu sisi wa mama tuko tayari kwa kila jambo kwa wakati wote.
And now on matters of women empowerment, Cabinet Advisor on Women Rights, Harriet Chigai, has called on women to unite and work together in empowering themselves financially. Speaking in Kipkelion, Kericho County, Chigai has urged women to embrace their unique talents as a means of empowerment and ensure they are economically stable. Over 2,000 women in Kericho County were taught on managing their finances as their way to benefit from 7 million Kenya shillings set aside to boost their businesses.
We have women economic empowerment. That is now the checks going to women for table banking. So for the 2 quarters that are already done, where we're going to give them is 3.8, and then for the next quarters 3.8, that is for Kericho County. And not to forget the bursaries to vulnerable groups and to the orphans, we're not forgetting them.
We all believe if women are economically empowered, if women are able to bring out cottage industries, if women are able to fashion the activities around developing themselves so that they can have money and so that they can be able to educate their children, they can be able to give support in terms of not only business-wise, but when women are empowered, a lot of societal issues will go down.
And leaders from pastoralist communities in the North Rift region are now urging the government to ensure that stolen kettles are returned to the respective owners. The leaders say peace has been witnessed between the warring communities, and this, or rather the strategy of returning cattle, will enhance peace amongst the communities.
Na wakora wa Turkana, tuko na wakora wa Marakwet, na kidogo pande ya Pokot pia tuwezi sema tuna wale wachache. Mkitaka amani, tuongeleshe watu wetu ili tukae vizuri.
Mdomo yako ukipanua namna hii kwa wale ipande mnapokusaidia sikuja ground tusunguke na kufanya amani. Lakini ukiropoka huko wewe unachochea watu wako pande hii. Maskari wanaanza kuua hata ng'ombe. Hata kwa sababu mtu alipita hapa hivi akachukua alichukua pikipiki ya mtu. Ng'ombe kwanza hiyo ni laana kubwa. Hata utaishi milele.
Ng'ombe yote asipotee upande wa Sabini ama upande wa Pokot. Wakija Pokot, ninyi Pokot asu. Wakienda upande wa Sabini chukua jukumu mpaka ng'ombe warudi.
Tumefika hapa kwa ajili ya shida ambayo tuko nayo. Sisi kama watu wa Kapel tumeteseka sana. Wewe umeona hii risasi ambayo watu wako walipiga watu wetu. Tumeteseka. Watoto waliwawa, wasasi waliwawa, vijana waliwawa. Saa hii tuko na vijana wa mama ambayo wako na watoto wadogo na wazee wao wamekufa.
Well, we do hope that the returning cattle formula, or rather proposal, will help quell the much unseen protest, or rather the much wrangles between the pastoralist communities in both from West Pokot County to Turkana County and the Kenya-Uganda border will be a thing of the past as soon as the plan is properly put to place. Well, that marks the end of tonight's EBN News, Prime News Bulletin with me, Sammy Adika. Many thanks for tuning in. Until tomorrow, do have a lovely night.